Andersen.
What's going on, you guys? Welcome back to channel Andersen, and welcome to today's video. Now, I'm pretty sure I lost a whole bunch of footage. Well, not lost, I accidentally deleted a bunch of footage off my SD card from when I was experimenting trying to get our sender to work without the internal filter. I had an external filter set up right here, which was this. This is a Chase Bays 20 micron filter. I had it installed there, had this pressure sensor over by the rail. Tried to get the car to start. It did, and it built pressure the first time up to like 55 psi like it normally should. And then basically ran for a second and started falling to like 40 psi before I shut it off. So I'm pretty sure I lost some of the clips of me doing the first part of that, but I'll pop in here what I have left so you guys can at least see kind of where I left that off. Alright guys, so now it won't even build pressure if I cycle the key. The only other thing I can think of is like vapor lock. So I'm going to go ahead and loosen up one of these fittings and just, I guess, see what comes out, see if I get any bunch of air bubbles or something, and try it again. I mean, if it built up pressure from me cycling the key before, unless it like popped something on the sender, then I don't see why it wouldn't be able to build pressure again. So I guess let me make sure it's not vapor locked. Okay, big hiss just came out when I undid the AN line right there next to the pressure gauge. So let's see any changes. Alright, well, that sucks. It's not building any pressure whatsoever. I kind of feel like it could be possible the sender like split itself open because it seals on the O-ring. I don't know, maybe. Something's not happy. This sucks. So as you can see, that didn't work out, and I'm pretty sure that the fuel sender just cannot work and not hold pressure without that filter being internal, because it basically seals onto both the top half and the bottom half of the chamber, and I think that has to do with how it regulates. So my plan kind of failed, but I do have one that we're going to throw in now, which I'll show you guys. Alright, so here is my cheap replacement unit. Now, this is also kind of an experiment because this is designated for an E500, or also like a bunch of other models like CLKs, a bunch of CLKs, other C classes, etc. that are non-PZEV cars. So mine has a fuel pressure sensor on top. Some C55s don't. Like I spoke with my buddy Tomas that has C55 over in Australia. His is a right-hand drive Euro spec car. His has no fuel pressure sensor. So I learned this from him. He used the E500 sender. Same exact one, it just doesn't have the pressure sensor on top. So everything else is exactly the same as to what I pulled out. It has the internal filter, so I guess we're just going to do it. I don't know. There's kind of a point where you try to modify these things, and if it just becomes too much of a hassle, sometimes it is just better to stick with OEM. And I mentioned that in the last video you guys saw where I pulled it out of the car, was that if it just doesn't work out and it doesn't seem like it's going to, I'm just going to throw in an OEM style unit because it's just not worth the headache. It's not the focal point of the car, and it's not that big a deal to have the internal filter in there, especially now that I know pulling the sender out is actually not that difficult at all. And all the fuel pump stuff, like it's all pretty easy to me now. It's familiar now. I've done it a couple times, so not a big deal. This side of things is very well sorted, the rail and all that stuff, and the fuel pump's working good. So again, it's just not worth going down the rabbit hole of trying to set up some external filter just for this whole purpose, and I'm not going to do that. So we're going to try this unit. The only thing I have to do to modify this one is put on the little quick disconnect barb like I did to my OEM one that's in there right now. So I basically just measure this where I need to cut it, and install one of our quick disconnects. And then besides that, everything else should be pretty much set where it is, and should be good to go. So let's get everything pulled out of there. I don't have the GoPro charge right now, and you guys already saw me do it last time, but yeah, it's basically just spinning off the seal caps and then pulling out both units. I only need to open up that side to unplug everything. We don't need to pull out the fuel pump bucket or anything like that. So I'm gonna do this off camera. I'll catch up with you guys once I get it outside and see if there's a definite reason for why it stopped working. I had one theory that maybe this just popped off, like me spinning it off and doing that kind of lost its clamping force. So maybe, but most likely it just doesn't work without the filter, so we'll see. And also, yes, I should mention, I tested out the fuel pump, made sure that was working, tested all the relays and all that stuff. Everything else is good, so zero pressure at the rail is usually indicating a mechanical problem in the fuel system, not something else. So yeah, let's see what we find. Well guys, I just had an interesting find, and it's probably meant to be by the universe that I deleted those clips on accident, because otherwise I would have released a video, would have been this weird curiosity of what the heck happened, and eventually we would have got to the answer, but it's probably better it's going to happen in one video here alone. It was so strange the way it all happened, for it to be working and then to just magically fall off and not even be able to build up any fuel pressure afterwards. Well, the answer was this hose was completely off of the fuel pump. So this is the one that I heat shrunk onto this fuel pump, and I think what happened is it just got, I don't know, lubricated enough or something that it slipped off of the pump. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and clamp it on there, and we'll just see if this is going to hold pressure now. There's no point in, I don't know, undoing everything at this point, because everything at the rail is easy. I can swap out my fuel pressure sensor, put it back to where it was, put the filter back on, and that way we can test things out. If it doesn't work, then that's okay. We just go back here and swap out the sender, but it's worth a shot at this point. Don't know what's gonna happen, but let's try it and see. All right, well, probably should have checked this side first, but that's okay. We didn't really undo much over there. Just need to plug everything back in and tighten up our clamps. So yeah, let's go. Well, let's do this, button this back up first. Then we'll go reinstall our filter at the rail and put our pressure gauge in the front to the other spot. So dang, crazy. All right, guys, we are buttoned up here. This is what I set up before. Let me pause Love Sosa real quick. Okay, anyways, this is what we had set up before. I had to undo the fuel line here just because it's a tight fit. I need a 90 fitting over here. I just don't have an N fitting right now to make a new line. So got that filter there, 20 micron again, and our fuel pressure gauge right here. So moment of truth, we got everything plugged back in. Let me double check. Should be good to go. Battery should be charged enough. And even though it hasn't been sitting on the charger, but anyways, should be enough to build up pressure. And basically, if we build up pressure right now, yeah, we just figured out that was our exact issue. So let's see what happens. Yep, there we go. Instant pressure at the rail. I can already see it. We're gonna need to I'm gonna need to let some air out of the system, so I'm gonna do this a few times. Go undo one of the AN fittings at the front by the fuel pressure gauge just to release any vapor that's in there, and then we'll go ahead and crank it over. Alright guys, I just led the system of air, did it 3 or 4 times and got a good bit of air bubbles out, and then steady stream of fuel, so we're good. Had to tighten up that fitting a little bit, but we should be good on that now too. So we're ready to start the car. Sitting at correct around 50. Let me crank it up one more time, see if we get to around 55 here. Yeah, we're right around 55-ish, so should be good. Let's fire it up, see what happens. Let me open the garage. Alright guys, we are ready to test fire. I do see the fuel pressure, like, I mean, I think that's normal. I can't remember, to be honest, off the top of my head, but it does drop down to like around 50 if you let it sit for a second, but I think that is normal. So let's see what we got. Crank it up one more time. Neutral. Alright, here we go. Oh yeah, we're good. Oh wait, I cannot believe that. He just smoked out the garage, but anyways, we're good, you guys. Right at that 59, kind of right under 60 mark as it was. No way. Woo! Dang. This thing must have had some fuel sitting in it. Holy crap. Let's see if I got any leaks. Oh, that one's still leaking. Alright, I gotta mess with that. Dang, guys, this is awesome. Alright, let me tighten up that fitting. Alright guys, well, I'm ready to take this thing out for a quick test drive. Nothing crazy, but I'm just very curious if our revving issue is going to be there. If it still is, of course, can't let it be a defeating thing, but it'd be cool if it's not. That would mean, you know, it was all because of the filter being clogged up. So, or it's just the sender needs to be changed and there's no way around that. But the only way to find out is to take it for a test drive. So move C36 out of the way, got a clear driveway. Let's go ahead, back this thing out. Well guys, unfortunately it's still happening. So I mean, it runs absolutely fine, but I'll show you guys once I'm coming to a stop. It just, even when I put it in neutral, like just coasting, like I'm in neutral right now, it won't drop down. So freaking weird. So I guess there's a chance it is just the sender, but I don't freaking know, man. That seems very, very strange. Very strange. Alright guys, there it is. I have my foot on the clutch right now, and then it just kind of does its own thing. It's so weird. Anyways, going back home. Alright guys, well, at this point, the only thing left to try for me in my book at this time is throwing in this sender, because I've probably had 5 people comment at this point that they had this exact same issue and it was a sender. They changed the sender and it went away. So kind of defies regular logic to just go off of a YouTube comment and come up with a solution, but when it's this strange of an issue and 5 people comment that, it's kind of significant data, I would qualify it as at this point. I mean, I can't figure out anything else on it at this point. We got no codes, everything is fresh, intake manifold, throttle body sealed, the throttle body is working fine, the pedal's working fine, it's just revving up out of nowhere. So what is going on there? I don't know, but we've got to try this at this point. So I think I'm gonna try to throw it in. I'm kind of mad that I buttoned everything up all the way. I didn't put the seats back on, but I don't know. It's quick. I can get it out. I'm pretty good at it now. I've done it like 5 times. So let me just do that and we'll see. All right, however, now that I do know that it's not because of the filter or the gutted solution works, aka I am going to remove the filter out of this one because I have the inline filter now. I'm not going to keep that exact setup. That's temporary because it doesn't really work and fit exactly how I want it to, but it works from now. And that way I never have to worry about going in to change a filter in this thing, and I can keep an eye on the filter outside of the car without ripping this whole thing out. So I am going to do that before I throw this back in. All right, well, yeah, that's not happening. I just tried for probably 15, 20 minutes trying to get this thing to spin off. It will not. So, we'll just run it as is with a filter. However, guys, I might be out of time. 10:30 on a work night. Actually, it's closer to 11. We might be out of time for this one. So, that's it. We figured out something. You can run a gutted fuel sender and an inline filter at the rail, which is cool, I guess, to know. So for those that want to get rid of their filter inside, it's possible. And for those that don't, then maybe we'll find out if this sender will work for the car to figure out our rev hang issue. So that's it. I will catch you guys in the next one. Thank you so much for watching. Peace.